Hello, this is James Williams, and thank you for watching another one of my political opinion shows. Remember, everything I say here is an opinion. It's not necessarily right or wrong, it's an opinion. I try to base it on the best information I have available, but since I rely on others to provide me said information, it can be wrong. And beyond that, I can simply be wrong. Today I want to talk about the post office and universal broadband. The post office has been struggling since about the 90s because of the fact that more and more of the post has moved to online resources. And at the same time, we're facing a situation where more and more so broadband internet access is becoming a economic requirement. Even for small-time farmers, they need to have, internet access to be able to access, the government websites. The agricultural department does a lot of stuff online now instead of, people running around in government cars. So, most farms are, there's little to no internet. I mean, you're usually stuck with satellite or dial-up line. I mean, some of the lucky ones can still get DSL. That's not the fastest available, but it's good enough. So my idea is basically this. The Congress has passed several laws to make universal broadband coverage available. Problem is none of these laws are really constitutional. The Constitution does not give the federal government the power to create universal broadband internet as such. However, Article 2 does give the federal government the right to establish a post office and build postal roads. Now, as to what exactly a postal road is open for interpretation. I would say it's a road that the post travels across. So, since nowadays the post goes by internet, that would make the cables and fiber optics, the postal road. So my solution would be to take all the money from the various, programs that the government's established for universal broadband and give it to the post office, and then the post office would actually build a nationwide fiber optic network, connecting every house in the country, turning your physical address into an email address. Then they can turn around and sell access to these networks to, like ISP providers, like Verizon, AT&T, Comcast. That way, instead of, having one internet provider in your service, that has a monopoly because they're the only ones in that area, you can choose any internet service provider in the entire country, because they're all running over the government's, the post office, I should say. Post office is technically not part of the government. It's a separate entity that, operates like the government, but yeah. And I think this will give the post office, ability to carry forward. It is an Article 2 thing in the Constitution, so giving this money to the post office is constitutional. Some of the things you could do, like I mentioned before, every physical address can become an email address, So if you want to send grandma a letter, you can you can send it by email and then have the post office print it and deliver it as a physical letter. In the same token, if grandma wants to send, the grandchild a email, but they're not comfortable, typing on a computer, they can just write a letter, put postage on it, stick it in the mailbox, and ask with the request that the post office scan it and deliver it as an email. Parcel delivery would pretty much remain unchanged. There's only so much more you can do with that. I mean, until we come up with teleporters, there's no way to shove a coffee mug through through a phone line, unless it's a very, very big phone line. Yeah. So another thing you can do is one of the biggest problems right now with internet advertising is, trying to target, who you want. If you own a restaurant in a small town, advertising to everybody in your state is not an effective means. I mean, you need to target the people in your small town. So instead of, just buying an ad on like YouTube, you can, go to the post office and say, you know what, I want my sales flyer emailed to every address in this zip code. So that's another source of revenue for the for the post office to maintain this network, along with selling out access to the network to the various ISPs. And I think this would be a very workable system. I would even go so far that if this starts generating enough revenue, that everyone would get like some sort of a very, very basic free internet connection, something like 128 kilobytes. Now that's fast enough. You can browse the Library of Congress, send an email. You're not going to be able to stream on it, of course, not at that speed, but it'd be good enough that if you needed to do some homework for school, you could probably do that. All right, that's all I got to say for today. Thank you very much for watching.